Okay. Hi, so welcome to Perspective Drawing live stream. I'm a little bit pumped and a little bit nervous because drawing this perspective assignment is the hardest assignment for most people throughout the semester. So perspective, the sketchbook assignments can be fairly easy to follow along if you watch the other videos I've provided for you in the unit. So I'm going to do a little brief demonstration of the first couple of perspective exercises from for the sketchbook, but the main thing we're going to do together today is how to draw a kitchen in perspective, and specifically how to draw a kitchen that you're actually looking at in perspective, because you can create, fabricate, use from your imagination a kitchen in perspective more easily than actually drawing something that you're looking at once you know the perspective rules. But it's not going to look like the actual kitchen you're looking at, and there's usually things off. So you need to combine perception, observation, and the ability and understanding of the rules of two-point perspective. So that's what makes it so challenging. So we're going to go ahead and look here. Let me just close this out for a second. That's a picture of my kitchen in two-point perspective. And I'm going to just go through how to draw boxes in perspective with a little bit of an eye towards what a room looks like in perspective before we actually start. So I'll make this a little bigger. It's my table. I'll just be peeping out over here if you will. Here. All right. So, and this is let me get this is for the actual, stuff that you'll be doing something similar in your small sketchbook. I'm just going to use the big paper and then I'll flip it over. So here's what we're going to do. Perspective, linear perspective always has a few of the same components. So one of those components, this feels like it's a little, okay, let me just move over a little bit so you can see the whole paper. All right. So also, as always, if you have questions or just want to say hi in the chat, please do. I'm going to adjust this a little bit because it's a little at too much of an angle for this project. You really want to see the actual angles that I'm using as close as possible. So this is a piece of 18 by 24 paper, but like I said, I'm going to do your sketch, show you a couple of things you would do in a sketchbook first, go over how perspective works a little bit, and then we'll get started. Okay, so that's the bottom of the paper. Okay, so first of all, perspective, linear perspective always has a horizon line, which is also known as an eye level. So here we go. I'm going to draw out a line, and we're just going to call this our horizon line, but it is also known as an eye level. I'm trying to see, I am going to take a couple minutes and check focus on this. That was too far over here. So this is the horizon line. Horizon line, also known as the eye level. Okay, so if you're having a hard time seeing my drawing today, say so in the chat, because I am 100% able to try and mess with the camera settings and try to make it work so that this isn't a lost video. So here is another component of any linear perspective, which is a vanishing point. So I'm going to start with 1 point perspective. This is a vanishing point. And when you're doing them from your imagination, you can put the vanishing point anywhere you want, and you can put the horizon line or the eye level anywhere you want, which is why this is so much easier than what I'm asking you to do with the kitchen. So it's helpful to have a general understanding first, but then to also understand it's going to be a lot harder. So one of the hallmarks of 1 point perspective is that you're looking at things straight on. So you're looking at the front of a box if you're going to draw a box. So here we are, we're looking at the front. Doesn't have to be a square, but it does have to be a rectangle, like just straight up and down, close to right angles. Here's my box. And that's the front of it. That's what I'm looking at. But you see it's below my eye level, which is another word for the horizon line. It's below my eye level, so I'm going to see the top of the box, but I won't see the bottom of the box because this is below my eye level, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw lines from the corners of the box to the vanishing point. These are called orthogonals, and in our orthogonal, oops, let's correct that one. An orthogonal is a line going to a vanishing point. It's a line that is parallel in real life, but recedes towards a vanishing point in perspective. So there we go. There we go. So there's other videos that I've posted for you that show you how to do this. So you can create a box here, you can create a box above, all around. It works really well. 2-point perspective, you can put points in 2 different places. I'll just use this point and this point right now. In 2-point perspective, you're looking at a corner. This time, let's put it the corner like where we're looking straight at the box in the sense of our eye level. So the corner crosses that. And so you don't see the bottom or the top, you just see the sides. From the corners, you draw lines back to the vanishing point or orthogonals. And you get to decide where that cuts off as far as the side of the box, because we're making imaginary boxes. So I can say like, okay, here's my 2-point. Again, if anybody has any questions during this, I'd be happy to address them. So here's my 2-point box. And I wanted to show you this very briefly and then show you the inverse of this before we make the kitchen. Because here's the trick. When you're drawing a building, it's good to think about boxes and what they look like. You know, if you're drawing the outside of a building, the outside of a house, they work like boxes because that's what they are. When you're drawing, when you're drawing the inside of a room, you're drawing the inside of a box. So the first thing you're going to do, I gotta adjust this still. Okay, sorry about that wiggliness. But the first thing you're going to do is figure out your viewpoint, which is why you had the scavenger hunt. So if you're looking at your kitchen or whatever room you choose to do, if you're looking at your kitchen and you're looking at the back wall like this and you're facing it, you're facing this back wall, this is in 1-point perspective. It's not 1 point. It's not in 2-point because you are essentially inside a box looking at the back wall. See, this is 1-point perspective, so this is 1-point perspective. So if I put a point back here, but I want to show you something else. You're looking at the inside of a box, so it's not, you're not going to draw it the same way. So this is the back wall of a box that you don't see here because I didn't make it transparent. So if I want to draw the inside of the box, I'm not going to see the front side of the box because I'm in the room. Also, my box can't be down here because I'm not floating above the room, I'm inside the room, and it can't be up here because I'm not looking up at the, like from under the floor. I'm in the room. So I know my eye level has to be somewhere in the room, my vanishing point has to be on that eye level. So for 1 point, which we're not doing for your assignment, but it's good to understand, you're looking at the inside of a box. So the orthogonals actually come out from the square that is the back wall. And now you have, but see how they're coming from the vanishing point if you drew. So now you have floor, ceiling, wall, and a back wall. So this is like the side view. And you can see that you're in this. This is a good way of drawing a hallway or a room or, you know, anything like that where you're kind of going, you're looking at that back wall. I'm asking you not to look at the back wall because we're going to try 2-point perspective. So in 2-point perspective, and I'll just start a new one for this, you're still inside a box. You have to make sure that you put your eye level, again, you have to make sure that your eye level is inside that room and that you're looking at the corner of a room. So if I'm looking at the corner of this room, that's the back corner of the box. So I'll show you how we're actually going to do it in a couple minutes. We're not making them up for our rooms, but I'm making up 2 vanishing points for the imaginary room right now. So vanishing point 1, vanishing point 2, back corner wall. Then it's tempting to draw this like we would normally draw a box and kind of draw from this corner to the, you draw left from this corner to the vanishing point, but that's not the way you do it. You need to draw out from this corner this way, out from this corner this way. And then you have a wall, and you have another wall when you do the opposite. It's like an open book almost, if you think about how you would draw an open book. So there you have like the basic structure of the room. You have again, you have a floor down here, you have a ceiling here, you have a wall, you're gonna have all kinds of things on the wall. You're gonna have counters, refrigerators, ovens, what have you, right? So like, if I wanna put like a refrigerator, well, I'll show you this all very soon, so we're gonna get moving on that. But if I have a refrigerator and it happens to be right here, this is actually gonna be the back of my refrigerator is up against the wall. Everything that is vertical stays vertical, that's straight up and down, but anything that would be horizontal in real life, in a 2-point perspective drawing, is going to end up going towards those vanishing points. So this is the back of my refrigerator. It also looks kind of like a door in that wall. I'm going to use the other vanishing point to show the side of the refrigerator and how it juts out from the wall. Because that's actually parallel to the other wall if everything's square in your kitchen. If everything is not square in your kitchen, I don't mean slightly off, because I really don't mean slightly off, because this is, I made the back of the refrigerator too high. It won't fit in there. So I'm going to make a new one right here. I mean like you have an octagonal kitchen. See me, I actually have a video about that I made last semester. Most people have square kitchens. You might want to just pick a different room that has similar things in it that would still work for this project. So I'm going to cut my refrigerator off here. So see, what I'm doing is I'm making a transparent box in the room using the vanishing points. And my angles are a little off. You got to be careful of that. Like, you have to, I'm getting distracted, I'm talking, all of this. You have to be careful that everything stays like straight vertically up and down. So I'm going to use my eraser a lot. I would suggest you start out really, really light. I'm drawing darker because I want to make sure you can see my paper. And again, if you can't, please write in the chat. Say hello in the chat, even if you know, if you just want to. Because I like that and it's fun to see you guys. But this is basically like how I would put a refrigerator inside a kitchen, because now I'm using all the vanishing points to create that box, and I'm inside this box, but they're using all the same vanishing points. So I'm going to get started with the actual kitchen drawing, if I don't have any questions yet. I'm going to start with this piece of paper, but you're going to see that pretty soon I'm going to need to, even though this is already a huge 18 by 24 piece of paper, I'm probably going to need extra paper to tape to it so that I can actually find the vanishing points, because a lot of times vanishing points are going to be off of your page. I'm going to do a little adjustment because I want that to be straight for you guys if possible. And it really doesn't look straight, does it? Okay, that looks good. All right, I'll just not touch the webcam, hopefully, and you should be able to see everything pretty well. Almost. You don't see the whole page here, but almost. Okay. Well, I will like pan across it when I need to. I just wanted to make sure that this was pretty even. Okay. Ooh, okay, better, possibly better. So there we have it. So let me put the picture up I'm going to take my face off. It was kind of pointless up there in the corner for a while anyway. I'm going to take that off, and so that we have more room for the drawing and the picture. Take that. I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm going to have to make it a little bit smaller so I can show the image of my kitchen. So first, I'll show it to you a little bit larger. I'm going to have to look at it larger on my screen. But you see, I just wanted to point out that, like, you're looking at the corner of the kitchen in the back. Nothing is square at the viewer. So that's the important thing, is that you're looking at the corner. You might see more than one side of the other. Like I see, but you're not staring at one of the walls. I have a very, very busy fridge, it looks like. Okay. All right. So I'm going to look at it over here and draw it. Now I expect you to be drawing these not from a photograph, but from life. But if you stumble, sometimes photographs help. So make sure that you can take a photograph. Make sure that you try to draw it from life, but that you also have a photograph that you can share with me if I need it from exactly where you were sitting, so that it can make sense. So I'm going to start the drawing by measuring, like good old sighting and measuring. I'm going to try to sketch it out. And so you can't see me, but I'm extending my arm. I'm moving my pencil so that it like lines up with one of the angles, which is the angle of the bottom of the fridge, along with the dishwasher and the counters. And that's going to help me kind of sketch out my kitchen. So notice that I am not in any way, shape, or form. I still don't have this set up, right? I swear. Let me move it down a little bit. Okay. I am in no way starting by putting down an eye level or vanishing points, because I want what I actually see to be the thing that tells me where those vanishing points and eye levels are. So you can see the picture, I can see the picture. I am doing an attempt to get those angles the way I see them. They are not going to be right. Like that's just the reality that I live with. It would be awesome if they turn out like, whoa, I nailed those and I'll be really happy about it. But I don't expect them to be right on the first try. I expect a lot of erasing and redoing. But just so you know, I'm not purposely making any mistakes. I just do those naturally. So here we go. Hope you can like follow along with what I'm attempting to do, and that you can actually start your drawing while I'm drawing and get to a similar stage where you're kind of sketching out what you see, kind of using the methods that we've already talked about in terms of measuring and sighting. And so I'm drawing this like double, well, not the double oven yet, but the cupboard above that. I don't want to get a lot of detail yet, but I want to get enough sketched in so that I understand this. I understand the space the way I see it. I don't want to put too much in, because actually after I establish the vanishing points and the horizon line, it's super cool because I can literally use those vanishing points to come up with the angles, and so when I'm not seeing them correctly, it's okay. I have no idea why I drew the fridge this far down. It's actually like, that was supposed to be the bottom of the fridge. It juts out a little bit, but not that far from the cabinets. Well, you didn't even see me make that mistake. Okay. I just got new software for my webcam to adjust the settings so that it wouldn't go in and out of focus while I'm drawing, but I also obviously had some weird moments with trying to line it up right with the table again and make sure it works. So please tell me in the chat if things are off. I'm checking it from time to time. I There's times that I can't see it, but right now I still can. So here's my fridge, which will probably be the last time I draw this fridge. It's really old and needs some love. It needs a new home called the junkyard. I need a new fridge. I'm happy with this, but you know what? Sometimes they get old. So this looks a little too fat. So I'm gotta do all my proportion stuff, right? Not just the angles. Gotta look at it and say like, how wide is it versus how tall is it? Well, let me scooch it over so you can see what I mean. It got a little wide there. So I'm measuring the front of the fridge with my pencil, with my elbow extended, and seeing that the width of it should fit in the height 3 times. There is no way. I have it about half. So sometimes you can tell something's wrong. This just gives you the tools to figure out what is it that's wrong, even like you know something's wrong, but you don't know how to fix it. That's why I love measuring and citing so much. It's not because I use them when I draw every single time. A lot of times I'm just drawing whatever, you know, I'm drawing things the way I'm seeing them, and then I'm checking them and hoping for the best. But the checking is very, very useful. Looks like I have it on a little angle, but that's the way I turned the paper. So I am pretty much to that point. I am not quite there, but I am really close to the point. This is just kind of the edge of my, this isn't as thick as the refrigerator is. Wow, I really interrupt myself a lot, don't I? So what I was trying to say was this is, I'm about at the point where I can start seeing if I have a vanishing point, 2 vanishing points, because it's 2-point perspective that actually makes sense, and what I need to change to make it more correct. And this is going to be a harder thing to show on here because I can't show as much space, so I'll be moving this around and taping my pieces of paper together and trying to show you what I'm doing. I might try to, I'm a little worried about adjusting this because then I have to refocus the camera too. But it's maybe a little bit better at an angle. So here we go. What I'm gonna do, now one of my vanishing points is likely going to be on the page and one of them is probably not. And I know that from experience. I know that like the vanishing point where these lines converge that I'm pointing at now is probably going to be on the page, and that this one is probably going to be off the page. Depending on your angle, you might have both of them off the page. Unless you draw your kitchen way too small, you are not going to have them both on the page. I hope that makes sense. So what I do to check, well, I'm going to take the lines I have and I'm going to draw them and see where they meet. Just and by draw them, I mean extend them. So I have 2 parallel ones right here, and they wouldn't be. They're never parallel, so that's a little off. Those 2 are supposed to meet somewhere, and they are not going to meet, so one of them is off. So the top of this kitchen makes a little more sense. It's going down towards those lines, but I think, yeah, okay, let's see. So you're often going to get this kind of thing where you have a vanishing diamond. That's not ideal, meaning you want to have, I'm going to move this on top of this. You want to be able to pinpoint this where at least 3 lines are meeting. So I had sketched out some other lines. Here, for example, this is the bottom of this counter, and maybe I can just do a little bit more from my eyes, like the counter top is an angle kind of like this. So if this is the countertop, where does it go? And I'm extending my line. And oh my goodness, I'm getting closer to an area here, but I still don't have 3 lines meeting because I'm not doing this exactly. Like I'm doing this kind of, you know, what I can see while I'm talking to you guys. So I know that my vanishing point's around here somewhere. I know that I did a pretty good job. If the lines were all over the place or the vanishing point was way up high or way down low, I'd be more worried. But this is reasonable. I am in the room and this is where my eye level is. So I'm going to come back to that, but first I'm going to try to find the other vanishing point, because those vanishing points are supposed to be on the same eye level, and so finding the other vanishing point might really help us. I might have to go back and remeasure every single kitchen line, and that would not surprise me in the least. What I really wish, actually, I could figure out a way to do it. I would like to show you how I do that by doing it on top of the photograph. So I might do that if I'm struggling a little bit. We can switch gears for a minute after I get this done. So I'm just taping these together, and this is what I expect you to do because I do want to see the vanishing points. Might be interesting taking photos of all of this, but it's doable. So I taped the wrong side down because that already has stuff on it. Okay, switching it. Here we go. All right. So you can see enough. I need a little more space, but I'm going to try to show you what I'm going to do. Or you can, here. For the life of me, I'm trying to remember how I've done this before. So we have different, the main two lines are like the floor, where the counters meet the floor, and the ceiling, right? So I'm going to start by drawing those out and extending them. So I'm doing the same thing I did on the other side. I have a very sketchy line, and that's why it's not coming up exactly, because I'm like, oh, the angle's kind of like this. Oh, the angle's kind of like that. And so that's going to give me my general spot, but it's not going to give me my exactness. I'm going to need to be more exact. So then looking at the top or the bottom of this, oh, how about the top of the wall right here? Okay, so from the angle that I took, I only needed a little bit of extra paper. I'll slide it over and show you guys after I get it. If this is the right vanishing point. We don't know this is the right vanishing point. Okay, that's these two lines, right? So it's like just off the paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and, after we double check this, I'm gonna like cut this off so there's more room for us to see the vanishing points. So yeah, and that doesn't happen, the paper doesn't come across. So there's other things that should go to that vanishing point, like I drew in the cabinet. Oh, I did a better job on this side, because when I take the ruler from the cabinet over here, it actually goes pretty close to that vanishing point. Now, I have an 18-inch ruler, and I could really use a longer one for this. But I'm just going to do my best with this. So if we believe that this is accurate, because I have 3 meeting in the same place, so I can fix everything else that doesn't, right? So I have my line that goes to this vanishing point. I know it looks a little messy. Now I know that this is my horizon line, my eye level. That's great, because now I can draw a horizon line right across the paper and find out that I did the other side kind of wrong. Because when you get there, so here I have it, I'm going to draw my line. Again, I'm drawing darker. You should probably draw light when you're doing this, just so that you can erase the lines that you don't need, which is what I would usually do. I believe this is my eye level. It's a little lower than the one up here, and it makes sense because I was sitting when I took the picture, so I don't want it to be here. So I'm like, what's happening here? Why are these angles all wrong? I need to go back to the drawing board, literally, and figure out why that's not working and what's wrong with the angles that I drew. So in a normal situation, like if it were just me drawing this, I would just go ahead and start measuring them again with my measuring and citing them, and I'm very tempted to just do that, but I think it would be better if I could show you exactly what I'm measuring so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to show you I'm going to attempt to show you online what it is that's happening there. And what I mean is I need to put it into Photoshop and get this working. So if you need to stretch or go get something, go do that. If you're watching right now, even if you're recording, this is the time to